Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is Thursday, October 18th, 2018, and this is Mastermind call number 199. Can't believe we're coming up on the almost there, 200 calls next week. Then we'll start on 201. We'll start on the next 100. Congratulations. Last week we had 5 great wins. What was extraordinary, they were all in very red-hot markets, very competitive markets, Florida, California, and New York. And we just couldn't decide on one, so we had 2 winners of the week that we gave some free leads to, Ronit Abraham and Tom Harness. Congratulations on being our winners of the week last week. And our only requirement, you have to do at least one deal to be the winner of the week. But the best success story of the week, all the partners vote, and we announce it on every call. So who's going to be the winner this week? Step up and share your successes with us. Chad, anything? I know you're having a marathon 24/7 mastery course. Anything you want to share with the group? Share with the group about mastery?
Well, I think it's now a 9-hour course. This is the most interactive group I've ever had. So we wrapped that up today. If any of you guys didn't get into mastery and you would like to before the November class, you can sign up now, and we'll register you for the November live class. But we'll give you the recordings from this October class, and it's gonna, no joke, it's gonna be like 9 hours. So Jim, I told you I wasn't gonna say this today, but Jim just talked about the win of the week, and we do that because we have so many, like our team, when we talk to all of our customers, we hear all these stories, but they never get through to you guys. So we thought we would do that to encourage people to step up and kind of share their success and what's working. I'm also kind of working behind the scenes of capturing some case studies from all of our, from our successful subscribers, because we're proud of that, and we want to kind of highlight what people are doing in different markets across the country. So if you're interested in doing a case study, you can email Chad at All the Leads, and I've got a virtual production company. We can do a video. It can be you and I, or just you, however you want. And we've got some neat incentives to go with that. So if you're having a lot of success and you don't mind sharing with the group, we'd love to capture some of that, just so we can kind of highlight what's working in different areas of the country, and have some encouragement for folks that are just getting into this.
Excellent. And I know we, I guess about 3-4 years ago now, we thought we had our 15 minutes of fame when we were featured in the Wall Street Journal. Well, we were interviewed this week for the New York Times, and we did share with them about 5 of our most successful subscribers that have also been interviewed by the Times, and I think that article is going to be a week from this weekend. If any of y'all still get the newspaper in New York and you get a copy, send it to us, because I guess people don't read the newspaper like they used to, but it will appear obviously in digital format also. So we want to, not only for our benefit, obviously it reflects well on us if you're doing well, but reflects well on you guys. If you're going to work this niche, reach out and be able to promote yourself as somebody, who's having successes. That credibility is tremendous. So, yep, don't be shy. Step up. Tom, I know you're on the call. Anything you want to share with the group?
I just always like to remind everybody we're here to help. If you need anything, just send us an email to support@alltheleads.com, or if you're in your account area, look under support. There's a contact us. We do track each one of those items and assign it to the appropriate person to get back to you on a timely basis. So, please reach out. That's what we're here for.
And be as specific as possible with what you need help with. I believe we now have a staff of about 25, 26 people, and, they're all cross-trained, but most of them have individual specialties. So if you're very specific on your ticket, exactly what you need help with, just in a few sentences, normally the best person will get back to you within a few minutes. So excellent. And Tim, I do not believe he's on the call. He's on the road home this week. So if you are on there, Tim, pipe up, but I don't think he is. We have 2 people in the queue, guys. We have plenty of room for more. You got about 20 minutes till the bottom of the hour, then we cut off the queue just to make sure, we get through to everyone. And so hit star 6 and hit 1. If you would like to actively participate. We only have 2 in the queue now. We have plenty of room for more. Let's go to our first caller of the week. Is phone number ending in 1329. You're up first.
Hey, Chad. This is Vince from Portland. How you doing today, man?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good. So I am pretty much the dog who just caught the car, actually. We got our first one who wants to go all in, and he needs the works. So it's basically the house is in disrepair, the yard is a jungle. They live down in the south part of the state, and they're disabled and can't get up here to Portland to deal with any of this. He does not have a lawyer yet, and he sent me all of the paperwork stuff that they have. He's trying to do it without a lawyer, but I don't know if that's possible. And he says that the house has it has a reverse mortgage as well. That's part of the deal, but I don't see it in any of the paperwork necessarily. I just see an assignment deed of trust from Citibank. Anyway, I guess what would be the plan? Can I do this without a lawyer, or is that not even a thing?
Yeah, so it's kind of a misconception that you have to have an attorney. It's a really good idea to have an attorney because it's the probate law is complicated and different, and even county to county. But you can certainly do it without an attorney, and that's just known as a pro se probate case. I would say if that's what he wants, does he want to not have an attorney just to save money? Is that the important thing?
I think that's the thing. I think he's worried so he's looking for a straight up cash offer. They don't want to deal with it. They just want to be done for all intents and purposes. The house is still full of stuff, so I have to go through with an estate sale company and everything. I just think they want to be out of it because it's too problematic for them. I think they might be worried that it's going to end up being such a small estate that they have to conserve funds wherever they can.
Right. And are you intending to buy it or pass it to one of your buyers?
We'll obviously look at it first and then send it out if it's not something that we feel we can do. But we do a lot of rehab, buy them ourselves, investment types of deals. Yeah.
Well, the first thing I would do is, and you may have to go to the courthouse and pull the if they don't have the note from the reverse mortgage, I would want to see the fine print, so you know how long the fuse is, because typically when someone passes away or they no longer reside in that property, it starts a clock, which is usually a 6-month clock. So you need to know where you're at in that timeline, because what you don't want to do is get yourself wrapped up in it, do a bunch of work, invest, earnest money, have that tied up, and then have the bank recover the asset right out from underneath you.
Right.
So make sure that you understand your timeline. If there's a tight timeline on it, then my advice would be retain an attorney immediately and file for an injunction to stop a foreclosure if it's that far along. It doesn't sound like it is. But the first thing I would want to know is what's my window of opportunity here to close and, do everything I need to do, close and pay that note off. If you're going to buy it yourself, you can make this really simple for him. Just write him a check, close as soon as title comes back, and it'll be your house next week. And then, get whatever you can out of the personal property to create a little bit more, equity in the deal. If it's a good fit for you. I wouldn't even, if you intend to buy it or a buyer that can handle that, I would just make him an offer for everything, real property and personal property. And it sounds like that's the solution he's looking for. So if you're willing to
he doesn't even want to talk about personal possessions, because I mentioned that. I was like, if there's certain things that you want, we can pull that out for you before they go through, and they're out of it.
And you can oftentimes buy those properties at a better price for you, because you are willing to take on the work that's involved to get all the personal property dealt with, so you can actually see the real property. So I bought one once, and it literally had 3 years of trash and human waste in it, and the guy wouldn't even go in. He's like, just make me a damn offer. He's like, I don't even care. And I'm like, I can't even see the floor, so I'm assuming they're rotted out. And I just said, $12,000? He's like, done. and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it, but that was his motivation, was just to get it off of his plate. He didn't want anything to do with that house, and he didn't care how much money I made on it. And I told him but so that's what I would do, is understand your timeline, and if it's a good fit for you, and I'm betting at the right number, it's going to be a good fit for you, right? We'll buy anything.
It
right
looks like it's going to be a great fit for us theoretically, based on the conversations.
So you might just run down to the courthouse and do preliminary title search on it. Look at the language in the note. That should tell you. You can read the clause that says, if the mortgagee passes away, this is what happens. So you understand your timeline. But if you think you're going to do it, you can probably get title done in the next 7 days, and it'll be yours, and he can be out of it. And then
the court will just give me all that information, like it's public record.
It should be recorded. Yeah, they should record it on the deed. So if you just go to the county clerk.
And what's your first name? Did you say was Vince?
Yeah. I work
Vince.
with Paul Campbell.
What's that?
I work with Paul Campbell. I think you guys talked to him.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. I didn't see you in our database. So, okay, good.
Yeah, no, I basically manage this aspect of our business at this point. So
you're on Paul Campbell's team. Yeah, Paul's been great. That's awesome. The other thing I was going to say, just an extension of that, I'm assuming if you guys are pretty active, you probably have a title company you deal with on a regular basis, right?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, and most of the title companies will, if they know they're going to get the deal, if you end up buying it, they probably would even do a preliminary search for you. I know if you're giving them a lot of business, sometimes they'll do it and they won't charge you anything and save you the work.
Okay. That's a good point. They're down there recording deeds every day anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just make it real clear, like, keep this close to the vest. I'm probably going to buy this house. Don't tell anybody, but run me a quick title search. Worst case, my sister owns a title company. Worst case, they might charge you $60, $80 abstracting fee, whatever their hard costs are. But they're going to give you back an educated professional report, and might be more efficient, better use of your time than going down and trying to do it yourself.
Yeah,
and that would probably help avoid the lawyer too, theoretically.
Sure.
Yeah. And you could just get it under contract and leave yourself a contingency. You have a due diligence clause to give yourself space to do that. That way, you can present the title company with a ratified purchase agreement, and then they can go do an exhaustive title search on it. And I just recommended the preliminary because if there's a really short fuse, you want to know that. If you're going to pass the deal on and get somebody else involved, sell it conventionally, I would go do that. If I was buying it myself, I'd probably write a contract and with a due diligence clause, and then figure it out as we went.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Please come back next week, Vince. Let us know how you did, and congratulate. I like that analogy. The dog chasing the car. You caught the tailpipe.
Right, we caught the car. We just don't know what to do with the car now.
Well, good. Don't bite the tire. Go out and follow it home to the bank. So, yeah, please come back next week and let us know how it turns out. We appreciate you sharing. Sure. All right, thank you.
Guys.
Excellent. 3 more in the queue. We got time for more. The next up is phone number ending in 6248. You're up next.
Hi, this is Joyce from Orange County, California.
Hey, Joyce.
I have a couple of questions. One is I've been on a calling campaign this week, and I had about 30 out of my 40 leads didn't answer. And because I haven't gotten any callbacks in previous months, I decided this month not to leave a message so I could call back at a different time. And I'm trying to figure out if that's a good strategy or not.
Is your phone ringing?
No.
It's good. It's good that you're testing that. It's always hard to get people to call back. So what I always tell people, if you're going to increase your call frequency, like if you're going to call once a week until you speak to everybody, then back off the voicemail. If you're only going to call once a month, then leave the voicemail. because you don't want to pester people. You don't want them to be mad because that's the sixth voicemail they've heard from you. But you're doing the right thing. I mean, it's just continue to, reach out and try to contact them with more frequency until you've spoken to them. And not leaving voicemail is not bad if you're calling back next week.
Okay. Well, we'll
and
get
Joyce, you've heard Chad's, the MTI study, MTI or MTI. I'm not sure. The best times to call. Have you tried varying your call times a bit?
I've called all of those times, and
okay.
And then I started calling every day, different times of the day.
Sure.
So I'm wondering if anybody ever calls on Sunday.
I'm sure some people do. It depends on culture. If in Alabama, I sure as hell wouldn't do that. But I mean, we'll pick up like Saturday mornings, like a 10 a.m. to noon block. I think is a good time. Sunday really depends on kind of the culture in your market and what you think those people are doing. Some people think for some people that's a very private family day and spiritual day, but in other areas it's just another day. So I mean it's worth a shot to see what you get.
Great.
Chad, Are you calling now on Saturday, Joyce?
I called on every Saturday afternoon.
Okay, good. Okay.
Because I thought maybe they wouldn't, mind getting a call in the afternoon. But I think you're right that Saturday morning 10 to noon sounds like a good time block also.
Mm-hmm.
My second question, Chad, is that I'm chasing your picture. I'm trying to get on Facebook, and like Cindy McGovern sent me an invite to Facebook, but before when I've gotten on Facebook, your picture has been in the upper left-hand corner, and that's how I think I can tell that it's the member group, not the not the one that's open to everybody.
So
but I'm not
the easiest way to find the group is just use the search bar in the top center of Facebook. Type in All the Leads Mastermind, and it should take you to the group.
It does take me to the group, but it says closed group, and it doesn't have your picture in the upper left-hand corner.
Click request access. I don't know, somehow maybe you got kicked out of the group, but if you click, I think it's request access or join group, then I'll approve your request here when we get off this call.
Cindy did say that she gave me an invite and that she made me a member, and it's got a place on there to check a list of the members, and my name is definitely in there. I feel like there's just something I'm doing wrong. What I'm doing is I'm saying Facebook All the Leads Mastermind when I go into the URL to get into Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes me right in there, but it's not the member group.
Are you logged into your Facebook account?
I'm sorry?
Like, can you go to are you logged into Facebook? Like, can you go to your account?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm not sure. I mean, we can troubleshoot this offline. I've got mastery coming up, but somebody in our office might be able to do a screen share and help you out with it. It's hard to tell without seeing what you're seeing.
Is there a person that I can call, because I'm having a hard time explaining it so that people know what I'm saying, I think.
What do you think? Maybe
if you call the main support line, and just probably Alyssa or Jeremy would be best to help you. They can do a quick join.me so they can see your screen.
I was going to say Jeremy. Jeremy's a young, very aware, technologically guy. I think he'd be a good fit. Ask for Jeremy.
Okay.
Or Alyssa. Alyssa too.
Perfect.
All right. And
thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I was going to say we have had a lot of complaints about Chad's pictures, so maybe we took it down, but with Halloween coming back up, we'll probably put it back up there. So
you can't let them say that about you.
All right, thank you for sharing. We got next up in the queue is phone number ending in 2686. You're up next.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can.
Okay. My name's Kevin. Had an interesting thing happen the last week. I've had 2 listing appointments. However, they have been with just outside of probate. Just some past clients called me up and said, "Hey, I need you to come by." So their spouses have recently passed away. And my question is, they're not in probate. And sorry if this is a basic question, but they're not in probate. So how do I handle that part? Because I'm coming at it from a viewpoint of, yes, I can help you. That's not a problem.
So are they not in probate because they had a proper estate plan in place, or because they haven't realized that they need to be in probate?
Well, that's a good question.
Because a lot of folks don't realize, they don't know what they don't know. So it's a question that comes up on this call. What's this one on my list from 4 years ago? And it's usually until they go to transfer the property or refinance, they don't realize that they were supposed to probate the estate. So if they had the estate set up correctly, like if they held title and joint tenancy on the real property, then you can submit a spousal petition, and the property doesn't have to go through probate. But I would ask first, why are these not being probated right now? And if they had a good estate plan and they had it titled correctly, then it just becomes a pretty conventional listing. What are their needs? Do they need to downsize? Do they need to move into alternate living, or have you talked about that with them?
Yes. One of them just wants to get out because of the memories.
Right.
Being a large home, I'm sure, as well. The other one, it was only mortgaged in his name, and she cannot afford the payments. So she's going to go into foreclosure quick.
Is she on title?
She is. That's a good question. I'm not sure if she is. I did give her a list of attorneys that she can call, probate attorneys. But
has she already defaulted?
She caught back up. So my suggestion was, if at all possible, we can help sell her house before she gets into serious trouble. Obviously.
Right. Is there equity? Is there equity?
Oh yeah, about 100,000.
Yeah. So it sounds like that one will probably have to be probated, because he had a mortgage, and that's a liability that needs to be settled from the estate. So you're probably going to have that probated. If she does go into default, it's a good idea to at least discuss the options with an attorney. Like if something would happen and it sits on the market and you're not getting it sold as quickly as you thought you were, an attorney can step in and make sure that it doesn't get foreclosed on. They can file for an injunction, which is almost always granted in these situations. But I would first make sure they understand, the probate process, and if they have an estate plan to avoid it, then that's great. But chances are they don't. It sounds like limited details, but I'm guessing they neither probably had a trust or had things set up the way exactly they needed to be to completely avoid probate. So I would first talk to them, and so you've gotten leads in your county. You have probate attorneys on some of the data you've had before.
Yes, on one of them I did. The other was outside of my county, but I did get a few attorneys.
So if you feel like if they're in over their head, go to that list of attorneys, and that's a great way to start a relationship with those guys. So, listen, these are past clients or referrals. I need someone to help them, and in that conversation, they're going to ask about what you do and learn about your model, and you'll probably get a lot of reciprocal referrals from them. So I would get clear on what needs to be done as far as probating the estates. I would get the one with the mortgage on, the one she's having a hard time paying for. I'd get it listed as soon as possible. Even if you list it in her name, if she's on title, she can sign the listing agreement. If she's not on title, then you're going to have to file for probate, get her appointed as the administrator, and then sign the listing agreement.
Okay. And what are some good questions to ask when we're in front of these people? Because we will, as listing or as agents, we will run into these every now and then.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, the best question is, what's the toughest thing for you? Like, what's your biggest challenge? How can I help? And maybe it's personal property. Maybe it's just not understanding their options. Obviously, paying for the mortgage is one of the challenges. But usually where I start is to find out what's the most stressful for them, and then they kind of draw me the roadmap for what what my service needs to be. So personal property is usually a big one. A lot of times, they'll, knowing that you have the safety net of an estate sale company in place, it gives them what they need to kind of break through that procrastination and just get it done. And probably 20% of the time you'll actually do the estate sale. But just sit down and talk about what needs to be done. I mean, what needs to be done to sell a house full of stuff, right? And the other question I would want to know is, well, where do you plan to go? Like, are you helping them? Do you need to help them move into a retirement community, buy a condo? You potentially have 4 transaction sides here because you have surviving spouses, so you can sell these assets and go find them more suitable housing for this period of their life. So, and a lot of people are hesitant to reach out to surviving spouses. This is exactly why I always tell people to call, because oftentimes they don't have a choice. Like, they didn't have a plan. All of a sudden they've got a big house and half the income they used to have, and it's a quick downward spiral. And a lot of times people stick their head in the sand and end up losing assets. So you can step in here as long as you better understand the situation, you can kind of take control and lead them through it. And probably, I mean, maybe, I would want to know, do they plan to rent, or would they like to reinvest that equity into, something more suitable for them living alone? But you might have 4 transaction sides here. Just be a good listener and find out, what's stressing them out, what are their goals, and then you'll know exactly what you need to do to make that happen for them.
Yeah, we always start at the end and go backwards with clients.
Yeah, exactly.
My other question really was, in these situations, I'm not real clear on when to approach it from a probate point of view and when they can just, hey, I've got a house I need to sell, let's get it on the market and sell it.
So if they filed probate, then as soon as they have gone to the initial hearing and they've been appointed as the administrator, which is usually by the time we make contact, there are some exceptions, like the courts are pretty backed up in California. We have been hearing that some people haven't gotten their letters of testamentary yet, so they're kind of waiting on the court to give them the go-ahead. But in most every other market, by the time we reach out to them, they've already been appointed and they have the authority to sign the listing agreement. So it's not a whole lot different than, a conventional listing from the legal side of it, like the paperwork.
Yeah, and obviously you need to put a contingency in the contract, and if it's a good deal, which often probate is, the buyer will wait a few months to close if they know they've got the house, and you just need to put the language in the contract that closing to take place on or about, and contract is contingent on the successful closing of the probate. It's really that's the biggest difference, is you may have to ask the buyer to wait a little while to close if you sell it right away.
In some states.
Right.
In some states, that's true. That's true.
Right, but what do you do with the people that have not filed for probate? That's my question. When I meet with these people, they didn't file for probate yet. Their spouse just died like literally a few weeks ago.
Okay, I understand now.
How do I know that they need to go to probate or not?
Well, first ask if they have an estate plan. If they have a living trust, or if the overall estate is worth less than $100,000, those are the two main ways to avoid probate. If they had debt and they had assets and the total estate value is worth more than $100,000 and it's not in the trust, then they pretty much have to go through probate. There are very few exceptions, and a lot of people don't know that and understand it. I think it would be good. I encourage everybody to reach out, talk to the county clerk, and really familiarize yourself with the process locally, because that gives you the confidence to lead them, right? So you can say, listen, you go to the courthouse, park here, it's free parking. You go up to the third floor, sit down and talk to Kim. I've set an appointment up for you, and take control and lead them through this. But you have to understand it before you can lead. So I would say, take an hour today or tomorrow, get to know the probate clerk, get familiar with the process. An hour is all you need to learn everything that you'll need to know. And then call them back and say, listen, is there a trust? How much, what would you say the value of the assets are? Okay, chances are they're going to need to be probated. So it sounds like you do need to file probate. So you're going to contact this person and give them the name and phone number and the address, and just show them that you're being really proactive and giving them the help they're looking for. Okay. And then once that process is initiated, probably in the next 30 days, they'll be appointed. And if I were you, because when you do file for probate, then it's going to be public record. And you pretty much have social control of this deal, but you don't necessarily have legal control of it yet. One of the ideas, and you'll have to clear this with your broker, she doesn't have the authority. Well, if she's on title, she does have the authority to go ahead and sign the listing. But you said she wasn't on the mortgage, so she might not be on title. In that case, you're going to have to wait until she's appointed as the administrator before you can move forward with a sale. In that case, and make sure your broker's comfortable with this, just to give her that, the connection of a legal commitment to you, I would have her sign a letter of intent to sign an exclusive right to represent seller. And that's a mouthful, and it really doesn't have much weight. It's more of a psychological commitment of if someone else calls her trying to go behind you, then she's going to, in her mind, she's going to be like, well, wait, I've already signed a paper on this. And that will just kind of protect your position for all the work you're doing, before you can get the home on the market.
Okay.
And you and your broker can decide what that, what the language is in that. But I would recommend get something signed. And an LOI is a good, it's not a rock solid legal commitment on anybody's part. It's just her, signaling that, hey, you're the one, you're the professional that I chose, and here's my written commitment to that.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Good luck. Anything else?
Thank you. Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. We got a few more in the queue, guys. We're probably going to close the queue up in just a couple minutes, so hit *6 and hit 1, and then we'll be closing it up probably in about 2 minutes. Next up is phone number ending in 4370. You're up next.
Hi. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon. I'm located in the New York area, and I'm having a difficulty receiving probate listings. I went to the county clerk, and for some reason, it's hard for them to give me some type of information.
Well, that's why you should be our subscriber. Yeah, it's not an easy process. Obviously, you're not getting the leads from us, right?
No.
Yeah, we get them in every one of the boroughs, every county in New York State, in New York City. It isn't an easy process. I'm not going to lie to you. You can do it if you have the perseverance. If you spend hours or days down there, you can do it. The court house workers don't like people that down there poking through their files. So in many cases, they do everything they can to discourage you, and they don't make it easy on you. But you do have a legal right to the information. But often, that's kind of like Chad said, that's why we exist. The path of least resistance is just let us do it for you. After the call, give us a call, and I'll give you some pricing for your counties.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. That was easy. Next up is phone number ending in 7671. You're up next.
Hi, this is Barbara from Central Florida.
Hi, Barb.
Hi. I have a question on vacant land. I actually did list a property that was titled correctly to the PR, but there's an adjacent piece of property that's vacant land. And on that, there is another party who is the divorced spouse of the original owner. My question is, a few questions. They claim they had someone that wanted to buy the property, so they didn't want to include it in the listing, and they're under the impression that they can just sign over the title to another party without any title search or anything like that. Could they do that?
And they can quit claim it, but it sounds like they want to sell it, right?
Right. And
so
then,
there's no real risk to them. They're getting money and they're giving up title. The risk would be on the buyer's side. So the buyer needs to, that's the title.
Okay.
Title search and insurance is for the protection of the buyer.
Right.
So yes,
okay.
they can do that, but it wouldn't be advisable for the buyer.
Right. Okay. I kind of told them that same thing. The other question is, since the two properties are titled separately, would I be able at a later time to include, if obviously I would change the price, include that on the same listing, or do I have to keep them separate, pay cash, pay cash?
Most MLSs will allow you to list like parcels like that. You can do multiple listings. What I would suggest is just reference the MLS number. Like let's call it A, B, and C. A is one parcel, B is the other parcel, C is both parcel A and B. And in each of those listings, I would just reference the MLS number pointing to the other parcels, so that way your MLS will know why that you have, the same tax ID listed twice or three times.
I believe they have two different tax IDs. I'm not certain of that.
Right,
so,
and that's why I was suggesting that. So if your MLS board looks at, if they see you've listed the same property twice, as long as you're referring back and saying this is part of a larger parcel, it can be bought together in the private remarks, then you should be compliant with your MLS rules.
Okay, but what I want to understand is you're telling me I can put the house and the land on one listing and then make a separate one for the land, or just keep them separate?
No, you can list, you can list the house and the lot it's on. You can list the adjacent lot, and you can list it all together. So you could upload three listings, at least in my MLS.
Okay.
As long as I can list it the same, like two tax IDs could have three listings. But as long as I refer from listing A, B to C, as long as I have the MLS numbers in there, then I'm not violating MLS rules.
That's a smart way to do it. You're giving the people options, multiple options.
Right. And you're getting a lot more exposure because you're going to have three listings for really one property. So there's more ways for buyers to find that property.
All right, so I just have to check what is the proper for my MLS then.
Correct, and discuss it with your broker, obviously. Sure. And Barbara, congratulations. I know you're a brand new subscriber. You're in a relatively rural area of Florida, and you don't get a whole lot of leads. So great job on already converting one. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. Next up is phone number ending in 9234. You're up next.
Hello, this is Chad Kimball in Dallas. How are y'all?
Hey, Chad. Excellent.
Hey, Jeff.
Okay, so I had a few questions. Some of this I know we've probably covered before, but so the main thing that I get from, oh, by the way, I used your ICA this time, and they've already got me about 5 or 6 appointments, which is pretty good.
Wow. Our ISAs have gotten you 5 or 6 appointments in what period of time?
2 days.
Jeez. Please,
Not-
when you
not
take
just-
when you
not
get
in
those
person.
listings, call us back, and you'll be the winner of the week for sure. That's great.
Right. Yeah, I'm still stumbling through my sales speech. This is, but it's phone appointments, nothing in person yet. So.
Okay, good. But that's the start. That's great.
Right. And I've talked to a couple of them. So one lady that I talked to, you know, I get the typical, well, you know, we haven't even had the court date yet, blah, 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 blah. And my question is, in Texas, like, what has to happen for the personal representative to be able to list and sell, especially if they're not the heir? Did you get that?
They're not the heir, but they're the personal representative. Like, they're not. Was
Yeah,
there a will?
Well, it doesn't. I'm not certain, but I went out on the record.
Okay. Either way, there's 2 different answers because we don't know. If there is a will, that's known as testate succession, and the will say this person, you know, is the administrator, or excuse me, the executor. In that case, they simply take the death certificate, the will, list of assets, list of heirs, and they go file petition probate, and that initiates the process. Shortly after that, they'll have the initial hearing. The public will have a chance to object. If nobody does, then they'll be appointed as the executor. If there wasn't a will, that's known as intestate succession, and everything happens pretty much the same. It's just that this person is known as the petitioner until they get appointed, and then they become the administrator. And it's just an interchange. It's a different term instead of an executor. And then the same thing happens. You have the initial hearing. They're appointed, but rather than following the will to administer the estate, they follow state law.
Okay, well, this one here says they made an application for independent administration and determination of heirship. So I'm assuming there's no will.
Right.
And they have it looks like there's some younger, I guess it's nieces. This guy wasn't married or anything. There's some nieces. Some of them are in Iran. Some of them are here. Some of them are other places. They appointed somebody, I guess, to represent them other than this, you know, personal representative. So I guess in my case, once the personal representative is appointed, would they be still able to sign off for that? Would you have to have signatures from the heirs, or how does that work?
Not to list it. You're gonna have signatures if you know from the heirs on the closing. But you don't need it. You only need one party with, you know, they need to have, you know, a right and authority to that, but you only need one party on a listing agreement in every state that I've ever been in. So as long as they're appointed as whether it's an executor or an administrator, then they have the authority to sign that listing agreement. You can move forward, and the title company will take care of the back end. So the title company will you know, get the right paperwork to the heirs to sign for the closing.
Right. Well, and this person, you know, she lives in you know, like Houston, and this property's in the Dallas area, so she kind of wanted to do it all at one time. So I wasn't able to get a tentative meeting with her. I just told her I would call her back in a week, and if I could find out the court date for her, I would do that. And then I thought I'd follow up with her attorney if I could get a hold of him. Does that sound like a plan?
Yep, that's a good idea. I mean, you know, when you talk to the attorney, you say, listen, I spoke to Jane Doe, and I'm going to be helping her, you know, with the real property in the estate. And I just wanted to introduce myself, kind of explain what role I'll be playing, and see if there's anything I can do to make your life or Jane's life easier. If there's anything specific you would like to see in a listing agreement or anything you need me to know. And that's going to impress the attorney because they've probably never heard anyone do that before. And it should set the stage for a good referral relationship with you and that attorney.
And then the other thing on this particular property, I noticed it had been listed. The guy died in May, and it was listed and expired like 9/1. So somebody already had the listing at one point, but it, looked like it was prior to him dying. Anyway, I guess he would have signed that particular thing. Now we got it. So it does sound like we may need to wait as far as something to happen in the court.
Possibly.
To be able to do something.
Yeah.
And then since I'm assuming it's vacant, I should probably, when I talk to her again, recommend the vacant house insurance if they don't have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great way to gain credibility. Sure, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And what I would do, go take your service another step. Find a vacant insurance underwriter in your market, and just say, I'm going to have Bill call you, and make it as easy as possible for them. So you can use the insurance agent can use the tax information to get a quote and have that done. So when he calls, he can just say, here's the coverage, here's the price, which credit card would you like to use? And you can make it as easy as possible on them.
Okay. All right.
All right, guys.
Thank
Jim,
you, Chad.
I'm going to give you the wheel. I've got to go jump on Probate Mastery. Thanks so much for everybody being here today, and we'll see you next week.
Don't hang up, guys. I'm still here. We have 2 more in the queue. Chad's going to go start the Mastery program. For those of you in Mastery, we'll be off this call in time for you to jump on it. So no worries. And Chad Campbell, thank you for showing up and participating every week. You've always got great questions. Next up is phone number ending in 326. Looks like 9326. You're up next.
Hello there, it's Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Hi. I have a couple of just real quick questions, and they might even be on some of your other calls, so hopefully I'm not too repetitive. But one of them is, just to kind of piggyback on the topic of calling someone when it appears it's their spouse that passed away.
Sure.
And they're still living in that property. I wondered if you guys had some good dialogue for that conversation. I mean, I know we have the same dialogue, but it's a little different because, they're still living there. And
yeah, we have covered that. We covered that at least twice on the role play calls. Chad would be able to tell you which one, but just go to where the role play calls are archived and just run your mouse over the calls, and you'll see it there. I know we've covered that a couple times.
Okay,
with them, there's additional services you want to offer. If they need property maintenance, if they're looking to go into a long-term care facility, but it's very, very similar. And you also want to be a little bit more laid back, and don't try to close them. Just let them know that you're there when they need your services, because they may not be ready now, but most of them do end up moving within a year, certainly, and a lot of times sooner. So, but yeah, we've covered that a couple times. Hopefully that'll help.
So the topic on the role play is something like dealing with a
surviving. I think it's surviving spouse, we call it.
Okay. And
if you can't find it, just send it to ticket. We'll help you locate it.
Okay. And then the other question is regarding, and again, this might have been on one of the calls, I don't know, but when you look, and I know I'm not saying I don't call them, but I'm just curious how that works with when the property, when you see, it looks like the property is in a totally different state, and the personal representative is in a different state, and I know you're not supposed to do it, but you do a little research, and the only property is in that other state. Like, say, let's just say the
the deceased was in Texas, the personal representative is in Texas, and you do a little research and the property is in Texas. I'm just curious, like, what would the connection be if you're
it may be an ancillary probate, but it could be in Texas or it could be where you're at. They usually, not always, but they may have had significant assets in your area other than real estate, so they had to file an ancillary probate where you're at, or there may not be a property. There may be a property there you just aren't picking up in title, and they moved with their kids in Texas and they had to file the ancillary there. So there's only one way to know. Give them a call, and obviously if it is in Texas, go to our Facebook group and send a referral to an agent in that market.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. I just didn't understand why it was like, okay, everything's in Texas, the property, the personal representative, everybody, and then it's like, well, why is it coming here,
Yeah, they had to have had assets in your market. We just don't know where the real estate is and where the other assets are. Usually the asset that requires or triggers a probate is real estate, but there are other things. There are other non-liquid assets that they may need to deal with in the estate, and it more often than not the real estate is going to be in your market, and they move somewhere else, especially if where the personal representative is in Texas. They may well have a property in your market, but they moved in with their kids in Texas, when their health started to fail. So I would say 60-40. You may still have a listing there, but either way, the only way to know for sure is to give them a call.
Right. Of course. Okay. Thank you. Yep.
All right. Thank you very much. We have a repeat. Kevin, you're back up, 4370. Kevin's back.
Oh, hi. I just have another question. I have one property that's under agreement, and I was wondering, to find the best inspector for the due diligence.
Yeah, are you a realtor and investor or both?
I'm both, but I'm more as into the investing side.
Then if you're a realtor, I'm assuming you have your real estate license hung somewhere, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean you could Google, but I think the best most valid recommendation you could get is go to your real estate office or your broker. Ask the other agents in your office, who do you use for home inspections? Who's good? Who's thorough? And they'll tell you, because they do that all the time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Well, that is it. We only missed a couple questions for Chad. I think I know who the winner of the week is, but we will announce it at the beginning of the next call. I want to end this call like I do all of them. Thank you all so much for being here. We very much appreciate you showing up. We especially appreciate all those that asked questions and shared their stories with us. And I want to challenge each of you, take one idea, one thought, one thing that you heard or something that inspired you on today's call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share it with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you same time next Thursday.
Take care.